Volkswagen is a German automaker founded in 1937 with a production output of 10.7 million units in 2015 alone, generating over $244 billion in revenue, making them the largest automaker in the world. Volkswagen is overseen by the Porsche and Peach families, who own the majority of the shares and have a great influence over the board of directors. In fact, these families may have contributed to and concealed what would end up being the largest automobile scandal in the history of mankind. In early 2014, the International Council on Clean Transportation began to raise concerns regarding the emissions testing of small diesel engines from multiple car manufacturers. With the help of the Center for Alternative Fuels Engines and Emissions at West Virginia University, the ICCT found that in realistic road conditions, the NOx emissions, which are nitric oxide and nitrogen dioxide, did not align with the emissions reported in laboratory settings or meet standards set by the Environmental Protection Agency or EPA. Current EPA standards for NOx emissions are 0.07 grams per mile for every mile traveled over the lifetime of the vehicle, but depending on the model and the environmental conditions, the actual emissions of the VW models tested were 10 to 40 times higher than this standard. The discrepancies between the results in the laboratory settings and the results in the realistic road conditions raised questions about whether VW was intentionally misleading the EPA and the public. This study resulted in the EPA launching an official investigation into VW's ability to manipulate emissions through software installed in vehicles, and in September of 2015, VW admitted that they had been using software to lower NOx emissions during testing so that they could advertise better road performance. The following day, the CEO of Volkswagen, Martin Winterkorn, resigned.
We turn now to Volkswagen tonight and the growing scandal. The new numbers coming in. The world's largest automaker now apologizing after confessing to rigging software to cheat on emission tests. Tonight, the number of cars growing, 500,000 cars right here in the U.S., now 11 million cars around the world.
The software used in the VW vehicles detected whether the car was stationary in the lab or driving on the roads and changed its fuel injection to alter NOx emissions. Here's how it works. NOx are created when nitrogen and oxygen are in contact at high pressures and temperatures, as in the internal conditions of an engine cylinder. The catalytic converter on a diesel engine will use unburned fuel to convert NOx emissions back into oxygen and nitrogen, and this system will be more efficient if there is more unburned fuel in the exhaust. In order to comply with the EPA standards, the implemented VW software detected that the vehicle was under laboratory settings and injected more fuel in the engine, which led to a decrease in NOx emissions. By having more unburned fuel in the exhaust, this resulted in higher fuel consumption of the vehicle. When the software detected that the car was under real-world conditions, it decreased the fuel injected into the engine, thus allowing more NOx emissions to leave the exhaust, but increasing performance of the vehicle. In this way, VW could pass EPA standards while advertising higher fuel efficiency and performance.
After the scandal broke, the United States Justice Department filed a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against Volkswagen and its 5 subsidiaries, including Audi and Porsche, which share technologies. This lawsuit requested that the court halt all sales of VW within the US, and it resulted in VW paying $10 billion to affected owners, $2.7 billion for environmental cleanup, and $2 billion to promote zero-emission vehicles.
Since the scandal broke, VW has committed to changing the structure of their company to prevent future incidents such as this. Their new CEO has introduced 5 top priorities to help the company get back on track: regaining trust by helping customers, uncovering the causes for the emission scandal, introducing a new decentralized structure, creating a new corporate mindset, and redefining targets. Volkswagen has confirmed that in the future emissions tests will be evaluated externally and independently, and that randomly selected real-life tests to assess emissions behavior on the road will be introduced. Other car manufacturers have since been challenged on the subject, but all claim that the emissions tests were performed correctly and that to the best of their knowledge, no efforts have been made to illegally deceive the public. Despite this, the automotive community has widely acknowledged that there are concerning discrepancies between emissions levels on the road and emissions level in the lab. With today's market going towards electric vehicles, it is possible that one day we will not have to deal with environmental problems of this scale. But for now, it will be interesting to see the evolution of the diesel engine, as it still has many advantages over the more commonly used gasoline engine, and that diesel vehicles represent a significant part of all cars manufactured in the world.